My career path. I did my microbiology studies in Colombia. I knew I needed to learn English, so I left to the United States. I learned English there, and then I found a job at the Yale University as a research assistant. I learned a lot, all that theory finally in a lab. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned a lot of new things. I discovered viruses, and it was really, really fun. I learned how the American system works. It was nice. It was really nice, the scientific world there. Very competitive, but at the same time, where I was, they always try to do everything collaborations and not trying to compete with other people. But if they saw some research was similar, then they team up and then they work together. And and I started my PhD here in Germany. I started to work with bacteria, and at the beginning, oh my God, I did not like them. Because viruses, even though they are complicated, you just have to think about the cell system plus the genes of the virus, which is complicated enough. But then with bacteria, they are alive too. So experimental, you have to always coordinate not only your cells, but your bacteria. So you have two living beings that you have to coordinate. The bacteria that I was working with was Helicobacter pylori, which is, I love her. I find it fascinating, but she's a slow grower, and it's not easy to work with her, but it was fun. In the meantime, I finished my PhD. Then I started what is called the Habilitation. That's something very German. It's like you do your postdoc, but then while you're doing your postdoc, you qualify yourself to be able to teach in a German university. And I call it like a second PhD because you are learning how to teach, and you're as well getting money for research, developing your ideas based on what you did before, all these things that stay kind of like in one experiment you saw, cannot follow up on it because it will be way too much. So you have to kind of like leave it there, store it as an idea, and then once you have time, develop it and get the money for it. I finished in 2018. I presented my final presentation for the Habilitation, and with that title, I was able to apply for a permit to teach in the university. And once I get the title, it's called Privat Dozent, and maybe you will see it in some titles of people, a PD before your name, and that's what I did. And with that, I'm able to teach in the university, to be responsible for my own classes. One thing that happened at the end of my work as junior researcher, I had my own grant from the DFG, kind of like a startup grant. A grant is a money that you apply for so that they support your ideas in research, and I applied for that and I got it. So I was considered my own little group leader or junior group leader. And what happened was, at one point of the project, we had to do something that required bioinformatics. I got in contact with the bioinformatics team in the LMU, and it worked perfectly fine, but it was really frustrating not to be able to see the data by myself. And even though they were really helpful and nice all the time, I discovered we don't seem to communicate at the same level. They have a bioinformatics training and education, and I have a biologist, and it was difficult to find a way how to communicate, and I wanted to see my data by myself, and I wanted to be able to interpret it and find out about what we did, what the results are. I did not want to be bothering them all the time and asking, what if we will look at this, and what, because they don't have the time. They are up to here in work because everybody needs their help. I I decided, okay, life has given me the chance. So I went back to university. I did my bachelor in bioinformatics. Was really a nice experience, but it was a challenging one. I haven't been in university like almost for 20 years, let alone math at the level that they teach here. They teach mathematics with the mathematicians. You can imagine the level of abstraction that they use for their teaching. It was a little bit almost too much for me, but I managed. I had great teachers. The best part is I am able to communicate with them. I'm not in the same brain wavelength because I still have my biologist brain, but I can see their point of view in many things. That's kind of like my career in science.